we are starting with X-Space. Let's wait till our co-founder is joining, that Tarmo is joining, and then we can start with our X-Space number 31. Tarmo sent a message here, requested. Tarmo, could you send a message? Okay. Approve. Okay. Tarmo, can you hear me? Can you speak? Hello, Tarmo.
Hello,
okay, then let's get started. Okay, last time with X-Spaces, we had some surprises always that they started, they stopped. So we don't touch now anything will run stable. Now, this is now our X-Space number 31. We are doing X-Spaces every week, every 2 weeks. And today's topic is then ChainAware AI agents. The roadmap for the Web3 businesses and how every Web3 business can benefit already today from the AI agents. What we offer, we are not speaking about some theoretical thought experiments about the science fiction. We speak about the real things, what are there, what can be used already today. Okay, but Tarmo, let's start with the introductions. Would you like to introduce yourself to the listeners?
Hi, my name is Tarmo. I'm co-founder of ChainAware, co-founder of SmartCredit. I'm a distinguished architect. I've been in architecture profession, some IT architecture profession, some 25 years. I've built over 200 applications. My educational background, PhD by Nobel Prize winner, plus 4 masters, plus chartered financial analyst, plus chartered alternative investment analyst, and I am ex-chief architect of largest Swiss banking platform and over 10 years VP Credit Suisse Global Architecture, etc., etc. Yeah, back to you, Martin.
Okay, Tarmo, I hope that you don't shock the listeners with all these titles.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, probably you wanted to tell that you have a lot of know-how, so which is good. So myself, when you see ChainAware speaking, it's Martin here. So I'm a co-founder of ChainAware. Okay, I'm a co-founder of SmartCredit, our previous project too. I spent earlier 10 years in a Credit Suisse in Zurich as a vice president, but initially I'm coming from the industry, from the startup industry. Okay, then Tarmo, today's topic. But yeah, let's do it. So I say some words about the SmartCredit, what we did earlier, and then let's dive into the ChainAware, into the roadmap, ChainAware roadmap. So in SmartCredit, that was our earlier project. So it's a fixed-term borrow lend project, and actually ChainAware grew out of the SmartCredit. But yeah, SmartCredit was a fixed-term borrow lend, so we have been in a Web3 very long. And we started it before the term DeFi was coined. We called it that time decentral autonomous banking. But then some big marketers came and they started to call it decentral finance. But we spoke always, actually what is required is a decentral banking. So decentralized banking, so instead of decentralized finance, because finance actually limits it's a limiting term, so it limits your kind of a set of capabilities, which is required as a banking. But however, it became then the DeFi, the term, and then SmartCredit was one of the projects, and ChainAware grew out of SmartCredit. So Tarmo, would you like to say some words about ChainAware?
Yes, ChainAware grew out of SmartCredit, and first what we took out was credit score, then we took out fraud score. Fraud score has been now 2 years in life. Credit score for crypto users has been 4 years or more in life, and these are all AI-based products. So we started with AI before this big AI or attention AI or fake AI narrative started. And we have built real AI systems. This is our credit score. It is our fraud detection system. It is rug pull. Then we moved over because we can calculate.
Tarmo, just adding, it's not a rug pull detection system, but it's a predictive rug pull detection system. So we're not doing rug pulls. We predict who will do rug pulls. Tarmo, so
we predict, yes, if you give us contract address, then we will predict will this contract do a rug pull or...
we are not automating rug pulls. We detect who will do rug pulls.
Yes, and fraud detection, our accuracy, if we have it very, very high computation intensity, we go to 99% accuracy, and real-time 98% accuracy. It's a very, very strong system.
But let's say it as well, this fraud detection system, it's predicting it before it happens. So we predict fraud before it happens. We say this address is probably doing with accuracy 98% the fraud in the future. Now we don't predict the time, although we could extend the algorithm to do this in the future too. At the moment we're just saying watch out for this and this algorithm address. So it's all predicted. So we're using predictive AI. Yeah.
Yes, it's predictive. It's like Minority Report, Martin. You predict who are criminals or so.
Who are criminals?
Yes, these are our algorithms. And concerning time, what you mentioned, there is class of algorithms where we can predict also when it will happen with very high accuracy, and not just it will happen, but also when it will happen. But it needs it needs around 1,000 times more compute power than we use currently for calculations. And as we can calculate so many intentions, Martin, then we we can calculate also intentions that are needed for ad tech. And then we extended ChainAware also over into ad tech. And we know users' intentions, we know when we know users' address, based on addresses, we calculate his or her intentions. And then we can show him targeted ads which are generated exactly for this user. Can you imagine it? Targeted ads based on intentions of a user. This is real one-to-one marketing in Web3. It was 1997. Okay, I'm dinosaurus. I wrote marketing thesis about master thesis about one-to-one marketing, and now we've built it. It's one-to-one. You get targeted messages for you. But we can speak about it later.
Yes, Tarmo was showing off on the beginning. Sorry, Tarmo, I'm teasing a little bit with this all this list of the titles, but it's indeed Tarmo wrote a very, very long time ago. It was before the internet hype. One of his master theses about one-to-one targeting. So the internet wasn't there, but the ideas were there, and now it's beautiful with the blockchain. We could implement it. Actually, when we did SmartCredit, all of this was in our head as well. As I saw this one-to-one targeting, and the blockchain is offering a beautiful beautiful possibility for this. Now, if you're looking in our website, on our website, we call it the Web3 marketing agents. Now, this is only available then in the business subscriptions. Now, in the regular users, you don't have this feature. So on the website, it's marketing agents. So because it's fully 100% automated, and as well for the listeners, if you are saying ad tech means advertisement technology. And advertisement technology, okay, it has two parts. The first part is you have to identify, you have to microsegmentation or predict what is the microsegmentation of the user, and the second, you target then the users to create a higher attachment, higher resonance, higher likeliness, and this all leads then on the end to the user conversion.
Yes.
Which means it's a growth technology. So if we want to achieve the growth, we cannot just say that we have now to create a growth for the Web3 products. This is not possible. You start to create the likeliness, you start to create the resonance, you start to with this that the people start that they're attached to your platform, but this attachment is not possible if you are creating like a same message for everyone. We have to create a personalized messages, and that's what our Web3 marketing agents are doing. Okay, some people are calling them growth agents, some people love this word growth agent, but we are calling them marketing agents. Whatever, maybe
Martin, just emphasize for listeners what this marketing agent, however we call it, does do. And it calculates intentions of a user, what the user wants to do in future, what the user really wants to do. And then he shows personalized messages exactly for those intentions. This is like you have fully transparency about customer who is anonymous. You can create for anonymous user you don't know, you have never met, messages which are personalized for this anonymous user and which will convert him to transacting user.
Exactly. You don't know who the user is, but based on his blockchain history, you can predict and you can create much higher attachment, much higher likeliness, much higher resonance to this user.
Yeah,
Tarmo,
tell about it more. If you go to Facebook ad tech or Google ad tech, those know who you are. They know exactly your profile, your history, thousands of data points
device
about
ID,
you.
IP address, everything. They know everything about you. Yeah.
And then based on this information, they target you. What we do is we don't know you. All we know is your address. And from your address, Ethereum or in Binance, in BNB Smart Chain, we calculate your intentions. And then based on intentions, we generate messages which target exactly you. And this is technology what we have. So just imagine.
Which is running, which is there, which is running. Yes.
Yeah,
Tarmo, please.
Just imagine you log into an account or into an application, and sends this application sends messages which fully understand you, and it is.
Tarmo, let's say it very fast before I forget it. And you see, like this AI, now the current AI wave, it started with the chatbots, OpenAI, LLM, which is actually, a chat GPT. It's a chatting tool. But okay, guys, do we like to chat with the AI? No. And even if it's explicit on the website, do we want to chat with some explicit AI agent? No, we don't want to chat with them. But what the all marketing agents are doing, they're embedded into the website. Actually, to the outside, it's not visible that this AI technology is behind there. It's also embedded, but this embedded AI technology, it creates resonating messages for you. So there is just imagine on every website, there is a section which is creating resonating messages to the visitors / users, to the recurring users. And they are seeing these resonating messages. They feel these resonating messages. They start to like the website. Okay, this leads them to user conversion, leads to the higher growth, which leads them to the revenues. Now, but earlier, when the AI started, there was always a chatbot. And we actually had a chatbot as well earlier on our ChainAware website. And we realized no one wants to use a chatbot. Because people are not using chatbots. Okay, we are not using visitors, thousands, 10,000s of visitors. They are not using the chatbots. So AI has to be fully integrated. It has to be in the background, and that's what this is in the marketing agents, or / now some people are calling them growth agents.
Maybe to illustrate it about this messages what we generate in our marketing agent. When you go now to a website, some random website, there are often like pop-ups. Oh, buy, you get 10% deal. Oh, buy, you get 15% deal. Something like this. And they are like mass messages. Everybody gets these messages. Now imagine, instead of buy, you get 10% deal, we say exactly, oh, you are interested for gaming. We have for gaming this offer, limited for this time frame, which offers following cool things, and this message is generated for you based on your intentions. You're not going to click it away. You go straight in and you have a look, and this is the difference. We talk about it what we have, but we have also to mention what is current situation, Martin. And current situation is that users in internet are quite a lot bored with all these pop-ups and all these stuffs they have to click away. You go to a website, First, you have to accept cookies, then you have 2 or 3 pop-ups, and chat comes you don't want, and then you can start using it. And instead of doing all this...
It's a very intrusive, like it's a very offensive, websites are very offensive to the users. Okay, Tarmo, back to you. Yeah.
Yes, and instead of it just embeds these messages in normal website, and this is what is called adaptive application. So, Martin, we are already in deep discussions. But if you go to Amazon website, for Amazon, everybody has a different website, except Amazon Web Services. If you go to Amazon Shop, everybody sees it differently. It is calculated on the fly. And
please finish the thought, Tarmo, please.
It is calculated on the fly, and everybody sees his personalized UI, what is generated for him, and this is the way. These are adaptive web user interfaces, not this pop-up mess or everybody gets the same message. Martin, back to you.
Okay. And just tracing a little bit back and saying this is now X-Space number 31. So in earlier X-Spaces, we have spoken about the roadmap for individual users. We have spoken about the roadmap for the general roadmap, but then we realized we have to speak as well about the roadmap for the business users, for the Web3 businesses. And then we, and all our X-Spaces, they are available in our blog, chainaware.ai/blog. We put always a summaries. Okay, which is generated AI and then re-edit a little bit. So all the summaries are there. So if you don't want to listen to X-Spaces, just read the summaries, okay, 1-2 minutes, and there's a very high value content that is there. And yes, today, then X-Space number 31, the focus is then how all AI agents benefit, add value, create utility for the Web3 businesses already today, already now. Not science fiction, not a white paper, real products ready to be used and how they can be used. So that's the topic today. But Tarmo, before we start to dive in, so in the ChainAware, do you want to say very fast, like the key vision, the key idea in the ChainAware? So what is our key idea?
Let's take now very, very big picture. Before Web3, it was Web2. And Web2 was, if you take beginning of 90s, Martin, Web2 was stuck. There were 50 million users. Transactions were not really happening because the fraud in Web2 was so high. It was over
credit. So just let's be very concrete. It was a credit card fraud, stealing of credit card data.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And if you had these early e-commerce companies, it was like half of their development capability just fighted fraud. Fraud was enormous, and users just didn't want to transfer the credit card data over internet. And there was everybody was afraid it's stolen, and then I have to pay some very strange invoices. Okay. And second, what was in Web2, there was no real marketing. Today, it's everybody knows. Oh, I have marketing over social media. I have marketing over Google AdWords. But this time, beginning of 90s, there was no marketing, and cost of acquisitions per new user, these were enormous. It was sometimes, I remember it was pet shop or what it was. It was people were with transparencies by car roads, hey, buy food by pet shop. And this was the style how marketing was done beginning of 90s.
Let me add these things. There were billboards beside the highways, like use like a pet.com or something at this time. So the billboards did advertisement for the internet. You opened a traditional paper printing a newspaper, like we went to use last time, paper-based newspaper, and then you saw big ads for the internet companies, so myinternetcompany.com. Yeah, okay, customer acquisition. Okay, Tarmo, back to you. Back to customer acquisition.
And this was where Web2 was. And Web3 is today exactly in the same situation. Web3 is stuck because of fraud, and Web3 is stuck because of enormous customer acquisition cost. And what ChainAware has are two key technologies which changed the Web2. Web2 was changed because of ad tech, it was invented by Google, and it was changed because of fraud technology, that machine learning algorithms were used to detect fraud. And
predict, not detect, predict.
Predict fraud. And what we have is two technologies. First, we can predict fraud, the same what inhibited the usage of Web 2 or now inhibits usage of Web 3, and we can reduce customer acquisition cost like 1,000 from what are currently around $1,000 per transacting users down to 8 times at least, or even more. And
okay, so $1,000 per transacting users. Okay, this is DeFi. If you're speaking of the DeFi, so one transacting user acquisition cost. Okay, it's 1,000, maybe it's 2,000, maybe it's 3,000. So the acquisition costs are horrific. And now, what is horrific acquisition cost means? Okay, especially in the DeFi sector now. In gaming sector, it's of course it's a little bit less, but what it means, like these companies have a high, there's a very high difficulty to become a cash flow positive. Now let's think very simple. Now you have a cost of your business process, and from this cost of business process, then you are taking like a little fee, but then the end user has to pay. These are your revenues, but in the same time you have the cost get users also massively, factor 10, 100 higher than revenues that you're getting from the user. Just a simple mathematics. You will be never cash flow positive. And that's the situation for the most of Web3 projects. Like that the user acquisition costs are so horrific. So, and these horrific user acquisition costs, they imply that these projects will not become cash flow positive, meaning these projects will then fiddle a little bit and then they will fiddle out. So it's all about, because there are two, okay, we have spoken extensively about this in the earlier X spaces, just chainaware.ai/blog. There are all the X spaces listed there, because there are always two parameters. One is the business process. The Web3 is creating massive innovations. We're adding massive value with the business processes, because everything is automated, everything is 100% real-time automated, real-time, near-time automated. Now, but the second is what we need is then the second parameter. We have to bring users to the platform, and we have to get the users to transact on the platform. So we have a cost of customer acquisition, the unit cost of business process, and the unit cost of acquisition. And part of the business process, then unit cost, the benefits of the business process, that's going to revenues, like we say. And now we have to compare this revenues part versus acquisition part, and this has to be in the proportion. So the revenues should be the revenues that we generate per client should be much higher, or should be at least a little bit higher than the acquisition cost of a client. So
yes,
and that's the issue.
And to emphasize this, Web 2 solves these two key issues. First, Google invented ad tech, and second, predictive fraud detection was introduced. And we need these two technologies in Web3. These two technologies will bring Web3 over to exponential growth phase. First, we need an ad tech where acquisition costs are really comparable to acquisition costs in Web 2, which are currently around 15 till $30 per transacting user in OECD countries. And second, we have to reduce predict fraud, and then users come and start using applications, and ChainAware has these technologies.
Let me jump in here, because that is happening. The same is happening in Web3. That happened in Web 2. Now, in Web 2 that time, because the fraud was so massive and the acquisition costs were so high, that was the side effect. People got frauded, they left the sector. Now the same in Web 3. Okay, fraud, it doesn't mean that you're getting directly fraud, but maybe you get rug pulled 1 to 3 times.
Martin, I saw a tweet that one guy was rug pulled 128 times. So.
Yeah, well, I have no comments. No comments. So that means the fraud is indirect. It's okay. There is, let's say, direct fraud, that someone is trying to sell you something. Okay, it's more maybe to the businesses, but then the other fraud side is than the rug pulls. But the side effect is people are getting scared away. They're saying it's not trustworthy. I don't want to waste my time, energy, emotions now in this sector. And they come into the sector, they leave the sector. So that means we are missing the growth because people are leaving sector much faster till they learn the benefits of the sector. Because still, Web3 is a technology. You have to adapt the technology. There's a wallet, there's a self-custody, there's other things that you have to do. You should use ChainAware to check the addresses. You should check the predictive rug pull detection. So you should do all these different steps, and it takes time to learn. And in this learning time, if you get them frauded or rug pull too much, you leave the sector. Okay, that's one thing. Now, on the second thing, it's exactly the same that was in a Web 2. It's now in the Web 3. In a Web 2, that time when the companies were doing the ads on the billboards beside the highways or the ads in the
for
Times,
a pet shop, yeah,
like mybet.com and so, just to create the traffic to the website. We are not speaking of user acquisition. We are just create the traffic. The first step, create the traffic to the website. So the user acquisition costs were horrific, and the same happened. What is happening now in the Web3? And they burned their cash. They burned their cash trying to create the traffic to the websites. And of course, there's a lot of marketing agencies. The same is happening today. All these marketing agencies who are selling to the founders like anything, the manna from the sky, and we will do everything for you. Just give us your money. And the founders believe, they give the money, and maybe they create the traffic to the website. But you don't need a traffic to the website. You need users. You have to convert the users. How do you get to converting users? That's what you need. So, and we are saying the approach is exactly the same as the Web 2 did it. So the Web 3. And now the Web 3 advantage is that we have the blockchain, and the blockchain, we have public data. And this data is superb to do predictions about the predictive behavior. We are always making this example about the predictive fraud detection, 98% accuracy before it happens, not after. We are not documenting fraud, we are predicting fraud. So that means, but how is it possible? It's because the data that we have is so high quality data. So people have to think which transactions they're doing, which systems they're using, when they are doing it. All of these things going together. And because you have so many now different individuals doing it, of course, AI is perfect now to calculate and to predict who is doing what in the next step, who has used the bad patterns, or who will be the borrower in the future, who is lender, who is leverage trader, who will do what in the future. So, and we have this data, which was missing in a Web 2 actually. And then Web 2 had to use all the other tricks to get this data, like Google used the search history. They say the search history, they put a little cookie, they say the search history, they knew what is your search history, and they predict your behavior based on your search history. Or Google is using as well a CAPTCHA, the CAPTCHAs where you click this little checks, these are these little Google CAPTCHAs. And here we have as well that this data is sent to Google. If you look on terms and conditions in your CAPTCHAs, then you see this data is going to Google, and it sends as well a browsing history, view browsing history to Google. And then Google predicts based on your browsing history, based on your search history, then, of course, rather than the next actions. So, but it was much more difficult to get the data in the Web 2. Now in the Web 3, it's there. It's in the public blockchain. Okay, Tarmo, but I'm getting too much sidetracked.
Martin, maybe can you summarize? Okay, vision is clear. ChainAware has technologies which bring Web3 back to grow. But Martin, can you give maybe summarize pain points what crypto founders have? Real crypto founders.
Okay, let's say like there are 50,000, maybe 100,000 crypto projects. So if you're looking on the top radar, like top radar is listing crypto projects, there are 225,000. I think last time when I looked there, but there are as well some NFT projects. Now we don't speak about the cats and apes and dogs. We speak about the code, website, and dApps. The decentralized applications. Now the dApps, but and the pain points. Now, the pain points, exactly the first pain point of every founder, these are the get the users. Get the clients who are paying. Now, this means it's the acquisition costs. But we just spoke, this acquisition cost topic, it was there in the Web 2 and it's there in the Web 3. It was sold in the Web 2 with high effectiveness. right? We have now technology to solve it in a Web3 with a high effectiveness. But that's the pain point of every founder. It's your acquisition cost. How do you get your acquisition cost down? So how do you create the users who want to come back to your website, who want to use your products? It's the user acquisition. Of course, you need a product, but product is one part. How do you get people to use the products? Now, if someone is telling you you can use key opinion leaders, then like, yeah, okay, guys, let's have a phone call. Let's look at this. Oh, there are different systems like that. You can use point systems like Task on Magic.
Martin, let's have a coaching call. I will coach you.
Let's have a discovery call. Let's speak about this.
Discovery call.
Okay, it's just, let's say, cold traffic usually creates web traffic to you, which is then lasts for 12 to 15 seconds, and during 12 to 15 seconds, no one is converting. Just too short time frame. So you have to extend this time frame, but the users are then spending on your website. Oh, okay, so that means you have to go to fully different methods. Of course, you cannot use now. You can use like the Coinzillas and Bitmedias, the ads, but it's highly expensive. Plus, it's not only highly expensive. People are using ad blockers, and then only newbies are maybe not using the ad blockers, and so you get newbies to your website. And probably these are not always the users whom you want to have. So sometimes you want to have more experienced users. So, and of course, it's extremely expensive. So, but that means founders are confronted with a massive user acquisition cost, and it's aggressively abused by all kinds of marketing agencies who are just selling the pure manna to the founders. We will do it for you. You will have this, and on the end, founders will have less money. Marketing agencies have more money, and founders had a lot of visitors on the website, but no user acquisition. So, typical
no usage, no usage,
no transacting users. So, typical problem of the founder. Now, the second is, of course, this fraud, the fraud topics, but maybe this is less for founders. It's like a trust issue. Like, of course, as a founder, you want to present trust that your system is trustable, and what is now happening, and here, in the user acquisition, we have all this how we call it, marketing agencies, predators, let's call it the predator agencies. Now, in case of the fraud / security, there are all these auditors who are offering you that they are doing the audits of your source code and yada 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 yada, and they charge huge numbers. They charge very huge numbers. But on the end, you can achieve this as well with a much simpler means. You have to choose whom to let to access your platform, whom you don't want to let access your platform if you are a founder. Of course, you have to do the audits and so, but not so extensive audits, and audit business is a huge business because like everyone is a brainwashed, you need to audit the source code. But at the same time, you have to check as well, whom do you let on top or on the decentralized application? Whom do you let to use your application? Like, is the trust ranking of this gentleman who is using the application enough high, or maybe he has a predictive fraud? He's saying like, it's the fraudster in the future. Do you want to have a fraudster on your system? So that means instead of looking only now on the audits, so there are other ways to increase the security, because security is always like a multi-dimensional. It's not like one-dimensional security. Yeah, we need a multi-dimensional, multi-layered security. So you need to add additional dimensions into the security, protect from fraud, which means you are then presenting trust to your clients. So, okay, that's the second topic. Then now maybe one topic as well. Okay, let's go here on the topic of the innovation in general. We know it very well from DeFi. Like in DeFi, okay, the DeFi, okay, just for the new listeners, it was then, the term was coined by Andreessen Horowitz, and who invested in 3 companies. It was, what was it, Compound, it was a Maker, and at the time it was, no, it wasn't Aave, it was a Tarmo and so on. But they say source code has to be, and Tarmo, I think there was a reverse takeover of the OpenSea. Now, okay, so then what happened? They said everything has to be open source. Now, it was beautiful for Andreessen Horowitz, they made 100x there. And this very smart narrative creation. But I think it was pretty bad for the innovation, because what happened in the DeFi sector, everyone started to copy everyone. So the real innovation stopped. It's free speech. Real innovation stopped because there's no point to invent new source code. Everyone copied everyone else's source code. Let's take the borrowing systems. In borrowing systems, I think in total there are 5 different implementations. Okay, SmartCredit is one, Compound is the other, and Compound got massively copied. Aave copied Compound, others copied Aave, and so it went. The first DEX was created by the banker. It's a project from 2017. Uniswap then modified banker source code, and others modified Uniswap source code. And even so that if you look on some DEXs, you still see the Uniswap function names. Even on the, let's say, for example, on the BNB chain, you still see the Ether in the function names. Okay, what a surprise. So because everything was copied. So, and that means what you need to do is always to think, how do you create a competitive advantage? So, and if you look on this DeFi sector where everyone copied everyone and the innovation kind of was inhibited, of course, the Andreessen Horowitz created a massive profit, so there was a lucky bunch for them. But I think it was bad for the innovation in general. Innovation stopped, and it created this quite a heavy dilemma for the founders, because you have to protect your system. You have to create a competitive advantage, and competitive advantage on the end, you have 2 ways for the competitive advantage. The one is your business process is much more effective compared to the others, or you use acquisition costs are much less than the others. There's no other way. Either get the user acquisition cost down, or to get the business process cost down. There's no other way to create a competitive advantage. Just 2 ways. Okay, and that's this general competitive advantage problem. So I think these are the 3, like the 3 key issues. Or maybe there's as well like there's a total overrun of the tokens. So there's so many tokens, so many projects, which creates even a bigger pressure that you have to become cash flow positive. So not just create a token and then see how there are 11 million other tokens created beside you, but you have to become cash flow positive. But to become cash flow positive, you have to get your acquisition cost down, user acquisition cost down. So you have to get your business process cost down, business process effective. Yeah, you have to create trust of your platform. You need a competitive advantage compared to your peers. Okay, in DeFi sector, they were copy pasting everyone. Okay, this is happening in other sectors too, but you need competitive advantage. So, okay, yes, I think, Tarmo, these are the pain points. So I was talking now too long.
Yes. This
Tarmo,
is reality.
Would you like to, okay, because you want to speak about our roadmap and speaking about all the other topics. So would you like to say what we are offering and our roadmap, like for the business users?
We have for business users, for enterprises, for founders, we have 4 solutions. Live solutions, working solutions. There is no white paper, you have running products. First, we have AI marketing agent. This was what we mentioned. It generates ads based on users' intentions. Second, we have AI transaction monitoring plus APIs for transaction monitoring. This is where you can detect that your users have started behaving fraudulently. Third, we have AI credit scoring agent plus APIs. This is if you are in lending business, that you can detect credit score changes of your customers. And fourth is marketing strategy. If you want to have effective and converting marketing strategy, use ChainAware. And please, Martin.
Oh, yes, Tarmo, but marketing strategy we offer only to some preferred clients.
Okay. Very preferred.
Yeah, very preferred. So we cannot offer this to everyone. There's no bandwidth. So just a preferred. And there is a 5th product. Let's add the 5th product as well. We have a user analytics, Web3 user analytics. And actually we offer this for free forever for any Web3 platform if you want to use it. So if you want to use it, you integrate just via the Google Tag Manager or directly into the front end. You integrate and you see who are actually your users. You see it for free. What are their intentions, predicted intentions? What is their past? Which categories they have used, or which protocol categories they are used? What are the experience? What is the risk willingness? The fraud distribution protocols, and this everything is on the real usage. We are not looking like who is like the Uniswap token holder or 1inch token holder. We don't care about these things. We look on the protocols now. And if you want to acquire users, you have to look on the protocol usage. You don't need to look like who is now keeping token A
holder.
or a token holder. So fully different profiles. There are people who are keeping tokens and there are people who are using applications. If you are a founder, you need people who are using applications, and you get people who are using applications. If you target protocol users, not the token holders will not use the application. They are buyers, sellers, they're traders, they're investors. They want to make a profit. Now, but you're a founder, you need then users who are using your system. You have to look on the protocols, on the categories, on the experiences, on the risk willingness, on the predictive behavior, on the intentions. And all of this we offer in the user analytics dashboard for free. Okay, let's say it is a goodwill for every other founder. Let's say it this way. But then if the founders then want to do the targeting, then we say, okay, now you have to pay. So we say that data you see aggregated data for free, but if you want to know the targeting, one-to-one targeting, this is already this feature. This is then in the subscription mode. Yeah, Tarmo, but maybe let's say a little bit about each of these agents that we have. Would you like to say something?
I start with transaction monitoring, and very, very simple. You download addresses you want to monitor, you select notification mechanism, and the ChainAware agent just monitors it. And as soon as an address does do some strange behaviors, you get notification. And strange behavior, when it happens, the trust score of an address or user behind address is reduced. You get notification. It's real time. It's working on Ethereum blockchain, BNB Smart Chain, and Polygon and Ton. And maybe to give some quantitative numbers, the fraud in numbers. Hackers feeds, this is maybe we know hacking, and it's around 2% TVL in DeFi. In addition, we have all impersonations, all scamming. The overall...
let's add rug pulls too. The rug pulls are total unquantified. 95% of the pools on Pancake and in a rug pull. 95%, actually, maybe a little bit tick higher, but let's say 95%.
Yes, and what we have currently in Web3 is that from TVL, you can say the fraud is around 15%. And surprise, in Web2, before predictive fraud detectors were introduced, it was also around 15%. And this is where you need this predictive fraud detection, which say, address started doing some strange behaviors. I better watch out if I have this customer or if I interact with these people. And this is live, you can use it, and we will do modifications, enhancements here, and main enhancement is that you can have also Telegram notifications instead of just APIs. Yeah, Martin, can you say some words about marketing agent, AI marketing agent, and enhancements, what we do?
Okay, we looked at transaction monitoring agent. That's then leveraging very much the predictive fraud analytics. Now in the transaction monitoring, okay, we are predicting when a user is connecting his wallet, we are predicting user's behavior. So this is real-time calculation. And then based on user's predictive behavior, then he's seeing only the ads. Ads are auto-generated. Only the ads. Of course, the Web3 platform can review these ads, can edit them, can adjust, can define call to actions, can add links, can change formatting. But if you don't have time, if you're very busy, everything is generated. So the setup time, 2 minutes. Now, but that means if a visitor is coming to your website, he's connecting, because you need to connect wallet to get started in a business process. You need to connect the wallet on every tab. Then you know what are the user intentions, and he will get resonating messages on your website. Okay, probably you will not convert the user immediately on the first time, but if you create resonating messages, if you create higher attachment, if you create higher likeliness, the user is staying longer on your platform. He will explore. He will come back. He will get again resonating messages, and then you are getting him to transact. So, but everything starts from this resonance. You have to create resonance with your users, and that's what our marketing agents. Okay, now some people started to call them growth agents. Okay, they want to call them growth agents, so it's okay. Yeah, marketing agents or growth agents. Now, that means that's what our marketing / growth agents are then doing. It's like you're predicting user behavior the same way as a Web2 is doing. In Web2, okay, it's called microsegmentation. So you're segmenting the users. Now, we are predicting the user behavior. And based on this user behavior, he sees the ads on your own website which are resonating with him, which creates attachment, which creates likeliness. And this is actually all the same what all the Web2 platforms are doing today. The Amazons, the eBays, you name it. Each of them are doing it. The websites that you are seeing, they are cutted for you. If you're looking at the website that your friend is seeing, it's different. There's no one else is seeing the same website as you are seeing if you go on the Amazon. So on other Web2 platforms, you are seeing which is cut for you, which is resonating with you. And this is what our marketing agents, / growth agents are doing. They're creating automated this content and they're displaying it for you, resulting in resonance, likeliness, attachment, which then leads to the much higher conversion compared to this traditional mass marketing that we call it, like a 1930s marketing. But that's another topic. We haven't discussed this in very many spaces. So yeah, these are marketing agents. So and then okay, what do we do as a next in marketing agents? We are introducing more chains. Now, at the moment, the solution is working perfectly on Ethereum. It's working perfectly on the BNB. Now, we are launching it very soon. Very soon, next days on the base. And then, of course, because on Solana, there is so much activity, we're launching it as well on the Solana. So that means we will have, we have already Ethereum, we have BNB, now base, we're launching a base chain, and then Solana. So that means it's focusing now. Okay, the product is there, and we are going more on the support of the more blockchains, as well Polygon then later. So to have a higher coverage of the blockchains, and that's our marketing agent / growth agent. Yeah. But Tarmo, let's jump then to the next one, the credit scoring agent. So would you like to say some words about credit scoring agent?
For very long time, 4 years old agent, very accurate. It's like you can imagine FICO credit score in traditional economy. Traditional economy is all credit based, and it's the same credit score is what we calculate based on your on-chain data and your social data. We calculate a credit score and we monitor it, agent monitors it, and it's the same. You can then check what are changes by your users. Does the credit score of your users change? And if it gets better, it's of course good, but if it deteriorates, then it's not so good, and you have to watch out. And you can access it with APIs or over a UI, and yeah, And main question is, how creditable is my anonymous partner? How much can I trust my anonymous partner? This is the main
But let's
question.
say in the traditional economy, credit score is not only used for the borrowing lending, it's used in a general as a your indicator of your financial ability. Like a higher credit score means your financial ability is higher and vice versa. So it's not just a borrow lend, because of borrow lend, okay, that's maybe the first thing that people are saying in a credit score. It's a general financial ability. So because if you are like now a founder, you get the different users to your platform. So of course you want to exclude the fraudsters from your platform, but then you want as well to know like who are like more able and who are like less financially able. That means we sometimes we are calling it as well like this ABC filtering. So like who are your top A clients, potential clients, well, like a 10, 20, 70 filtering. So okay, and the credit scoring is a basis for this. So let's call it the ABC filtering, like who are your top clients, and as well what do you do if your clients' credit score changes, if it starts to deteriorate. That's then the unwanted thing. But let's say every founder is kind of interested about this, like who are then the most able clients. Now, so okay, that's then the credit scoring.
It's the Pareto rule. With 20% of our clients, you generate 80% of your revenue. And if you know now credit score of your clients, then you know, okay, high credit score, with those guys, I generate 80% of my revenue. I focus on those who have a high credit score.
And by the way, the marketing agents are doing this automatically. So that means you can have this credit scoring monitoring, but marketing agents, they place the ads automatically based on these parameters. So yeah. Okay, then let me say some words about our marketing strategy. Like say, marketing strategy is okay, kind of exclusive. We offer it only to some preferred clients. And okay, let's say in marketing strategy, like because it was like let me make an example, like on the internet, on the Web 2, before the Web 2 emerged. Like who made the most money that time? It was the marketing agencies, because they had this magic formula, use the billboards or put the ads from mywebsite.com in the New York Times and so on. So they made the money. They were the gatekeepers. So, but what happened in Web 2? Then Google came. Google came with the ad tech. And okay, Google is not a search company. Google is an ad tech company. Twitter is not a social media platform. Twitter is an ad tech company. They got the revenues are coming from ad tech. Facebook is not a social media company. They're ad tech company. Like all three, they're ad tech companies. They're just using different data sources to predict user behavior, and they're using the different channels then to target the users. So okay, Twitter is using its own platform to target the users. Facebook is using its own platform to target the users. They're using their own data to calculate, and Google has then Google AdWords as well. We're going then outside targeting. So plus all the partner networks and all the users. So anyhow, these are the ad tech companies. Now, okay, but you see that's on the Web 2. It's what happened that all these marketing agencies actually they became the users, let's call it expert users of the ad companies, Google, Twitter, Facebook. Okay, Quora, some others, Adroll. Okay, there are more of them. So, and what happened is that the marketing agencies who earlier then got the biggest part of a pie because they had this magic formula, used the billboard ads and mybet.com ads in the New York Times. Actually, they got substituted. They got substituted with the technology, and they became the expert users. Now, okay, and we are saying the same will happen in a Web3. All these magic marketing agencies who are promising all the mana to the founders, and they have all these different call strategies, all the different point strategies, or they're using the crypto ads. All this, we are saying this is not converting. Yeah, you can create a user flow, visitor flow to the website. But you as a founder, you're less interested in the visitor flow. Of course, visitor flow is good for you. You are interested about converting the visitor flow, and even maybe more, you are invested about the visitor flow, which is convertible. So you need a convertible visitor flow, and you need to convert these visitors from your get to the website. So, and in the marketing strategy, practically we are then setting up the systems from one side to create a flow of convertible users to your website, and from the second part is then to convert these users on your website. So that's, marketing strategy, like in a nutshell, what we're doing. And we are just saying, okay, if you want to use calls, go and use them. We don't do any calls. You want to use point systems like Tascon and Magic, please do it. It doesn't convert. You want to use Coinsilla. Coinsilla is kind of the biggest Coinsilla ads. Please do it. But don't count and whine to us that you spend $3 CPC or how much the CPC is in the Coinsilla. Okay, whatever. So that means that's our marketing strategy. Now, and then of course, okay, I mentioned before we have free dashboard analytics. That's for every Web3 project. Okay, we offer it for free, and so that every project can see who the users are, who actually the users are, meaning factual based instead of opinions, who they think they are. Like we had one DeFi platform, like a DeFi platform, and they were thinking that all the users are DeFi users, like who want to, do the DeFi transactions, and they realized actually the users are all traders. They're just traders, and not only the traders, they were the traders who are the low risk. They don't want to do the risk. They're just a trade in, trade out. Okay. Well, it's not so good clientele that you want to have as a DeFi platform. So obviously they had to change their marketing strategy. But if you want to change your strategy, first you have to know who are your users, who are your actual users, not on who is holding which tokens, but who is using which protocols. What are their qualitative parameters? So, that's our dashboard analytics, and we offer it for free.
And
as well,
Martin, our time is running out. Maybe I mention very fast where we get compute power. And
yes,
we are in a Google startup program. We have enormous compute power from Google, and this is how we can do all these calculations. If you do this kind of predictive AI, prediction of future, you need massive compute power. We have it, and big thank you to Google. And Martin.
Yeah, yes, it's a Google Cloud for the Web3 startups, and because we are AI part, then we have even more support from Google Cloud. Okay, there's a special Google Cloud Web3 startups, and there is even more very, very special than for the Web3 startups who are using real AI. And okay, guys, we are not using LLM. We are building engines. We are calculating. We are creating models. That's why we need the computing power. So, and yeah, they're very happy about the Google. Big thank you. Yeah. Okay, Tarmo, should we start to summarize, because you want to keep also X spaces on 60 minutes and not to overrun every time?
Yes, summary from my side. ChainAware is the company which has technologies which brought Web2 to exponential growth, and we can bring also Web3 to exponential growth. We have ad tech technology, and we have fraud technology, and using these technologies, Web3 can go over to exponential growth phase.
Mm-hmm. Because that's when we spoke earlier about the vision of the ChainAware. You see, Tarmo and I have been in the sector in a very long time. And of course, if we see people are joining the sector, they are going away, they're going away. Now, we see the key issues in a sector. And the key issue in a sector, it's all the same as it was in a pre-Google time, like a pre-ad tech, pre-advertisement technology in a Web2, and pre-fraud technology in a Web2. Because the missing fraud technology, it meant people didn't want to do transactions with a credit card. Because at that time, there's no blockchain. You had to use a credit card and type in the credit card and send it over the internet in the hope that no one is catching your data. So, but this stopped people doing the transactions, meaning the Web2 projects couldn't get the revenues because people were not transacting. And the second topic, it was bringing right users to your platforms and converting users on your platform. visitors to the users. So these were the two problems in a Web2, and solving these two problems enabled the exponential growth in a Web2. It wasn't some magic crossing the chasm that someone walked on the street, and like this famous book from the Geoffrey Moore, Crossing the Chasm, like how this internet exponential growth started. It wasn't like that some magic happened and now certainly someone walked in the park and or on the street and now it happened from itself. Nothing happens from itself. There was a technology which enabled it. And I was reading that time this Geoffrey Moore book, and I was like, wow, so cool book. But he didn't say how did it happen. And Tarmo and I, we realized it later. It was two key technologies. From one side, you create a trust in the ecosystem, and from the other side, you bring the user acquisition cost down. And then you enable new technological paradigm. That's the enablement, the crossing the chasm. So, because you need to cross the chasm to get to the exponential growth, but crossing the chasm requires technology. It doesn't happen from itself. So, and that's the key idea behind the ChainAware. Provide these two key technologies that Geoffrey Moore called that time in internet hype crossing the chasm, which then was followed by the exponential growth. So, and yeah. That's our vision. That's what we want to do. And that's our roadmap. That's what we keep doing. So
the future is very bright, guys. And with these words, let's finish today's Twitter talk, Martin.
Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you for the listening. So thank you. Bye.
Bye.